So this is going to be part two, talking about Natasha Cooper and everything that's going on. And where I left off was talking about the attorneys, because there was a comment of someone in her community was calling out MRB, and they said, she should show proof of her attorneys. And I said, I don't know if MRB ever had a fundraiser about any of her attorneys or attorney or whatever, but we know Natasha did, right? And it was under the generosity. Now, I said in my last video that, um, I don't care about any of her PayPals with the funky names or whatever. But with the attorney, that was supposed to be a legit fundraiser, okay? And she raised over 20K for it. And nobody's heard a word, right? For harassment. And it was a generosity under the Generosity Network or whatever. And it states that you have to use that money for what it's intended, what you intended to use, put out there. She put out there it was for harassment or whatever. There has been no proof at all. None. Zilch. We are going on September, October, November, close to a year. A few more months and it'll be a year since she did this. Nobody that she said she was going to go after has ever got a letter. Ever. And then, when people were pointing this out, I've said this before, she said, I'm not going after anybody for harassment. And then back in February, she did say, people are going to know real soon what I'm going to be using that money for. They're going to find out real soon. Still, nothing. Zilch. And then her channels back in May went down. And then she said she was using these attorneys to try to get her channels back. Well, that's not what that money was raised for. I mean, I guess it could, because she's blaming everybody else. I went over that on my first video. How, in my opinion, even though people can mass report, you still have to have done something wrong, in my opinion, to have PayPal's taken down, to have your bank account, to have the bank say, we don't want to do business with you anymore, to have channels to be permanently taken down. You had to have done something wrong yourself, okay? But anyways, she said these attorneys have been working on this. And then she also brings up, because no attention was on Natasha for a while. There was a lot of other stuff going on, right? A lot of other stuff. And she brings up this PI that was hired or not hired back in November. She says that she had another PayPal to hire a PI. Don't know why she would need that, but she raised those funds too. She put out, after all these months, this PI stuff came up, and that was the talk. And so she needed to hire a PI to see if a PI was hired on her. And she even stated that, if I'm not mistaken, that she hired this PI on a Friday, and on a Saturday he had all the information. And yes, a PI was actually hired. And a couple of them was hired, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about this, people can tell me I'm wrong. And they were hired, to track her and her family or whatever. But in a day, that's one damn good private investigator. They were able to get all this information in one day. And on a weekend, too. I mean, I know they work on the weekends. But they were able to get it in 24 hours? Wow. Imagine that. But, again, no proof. No proof out there, no transparency that you hired anybody. Now, with the attorney, there's a lot of people that left the community that donated quite a bit of money. And she said that, if people wanted their money back, she would give them their money back because they weren't seeing anything, any movement, nothing. And she had a falling out with some people, and some of them, like I said, they donated quite a bit. She refuses to give them any money back, and she refuses to give them any information saying, hey, this is, here's my proof that I hired these attorneys and that I hired them at this time. Now, I said before, I get it. If she puts out the attorneys' names, phone numbers, date, whatever, that people would bombard, call them, harass them, this and that. I get that, but there's other ways to show your proof. But then again, could it be faked? Okay? There's a lot of theories going around on what she used the $20K for. I'm not going to get into theories, okay? I have no idea where that $20,000 is, where it went. I'm not going to claim to know. I'm not going to put out speculation on, what I think happened to it or where it's at. That part, I'm not even going to touch with a 10-foot pole. But what I am going to say is I do not believe that any attorneys were hired for this. All right. And I've already gave a few reasons on my, at least one in my last video, is when her channels went down, they would have told her, don't make any other channels. Well, we're trying to get your channels back, right? They would have told her that. They absolutely would. The other one is she said that her attorneys were on YouTube in her chat, and they even came in as under attorney, and they said one of them said some pretty vile things about Jessica Lynn. No, an attorney would not do that. Sorry. Because Jessica Lynn could actually use that information. Okay? That kind of goes against ethics. So I don't believe that for a minute. Natasha just, I said it before, she is the only one that can get a hold of an attorney like speed dial, right? On a Saturday, the time she said that they were watching at 12 o'clock at night. Come on. Some people need to open their eyes. She can get a hold of these attorneys who she did not know beforehand. Now, I've said that I got a couple of friends that I've known since high school who are attorneys. And even trying to reach out to them, say hello, it'll take a few days for them to get back with me because they are busy. They have other clients. They are in court. They're busy people. But not Natasha's attorneys that didn't know her beforehand. They even have time to watch her on YouTube. And they enjoy her. Maybe they're a sub. I mean, even that one cop decided to sub to her. I don't know. Interesting, okay? But yeah, she can get a hold of them at a drop of a hat. Imagine that. Her case is that important. So there's another tidbit there that makes me think, no. And also they would have told her too, if you're going after anybody for harassment or bullying or whatever, then you can't act the way that you act on social media. And she would get pretty vile and go after the people that, in my opinion, that she would go out, would be going after for harassment and bullying. She wouldn't be talking about them and going as low as she did and conducting herself the way she did on social media. That wouldn't look good in a courtroom, would it? It wouldn't. Body shaming, talking about people's private parts. Yeah, no, that wouldn't go over very well. And her attorneys would have told her that. So, in my opinion, no. There wasn't any attorneys. Not for this. Not for YouTube. Not only that, we're not stupid. We know how expensive attorneys are, right? Right? Okay? She would have already went through all that money. If these attorneys did all this stuff for her and she called them, even, I've said this before, even when you make a phone call to an attorney, they charge you. If they call you, they charge you. If they send a letter, they charge you. Now, when she started having issues with YouTube, she said her attorneys were reaching out to YouTube Legal. They would be charging you every single time they did anything for you. They charge, I think it's by the hour. Even if they don't do the full hour, that money would have been gone. And then she had all these other issues happening, that all these other little crises that was happening. And she would say, I gave this to my attorney. I did this to my attorney. Even if an attorney reads what you send them, they charge you for the time to read it. That money would have been gone. It's almost a year. That 20 grand would have been gone by now. Okay? And now she even said that she was meeting with them for this PayPal issue. I mean, I guess that 20,000, is really stretching out. So there's another reason why I say, no, there is no way. Absolutely no way. But if, these people want to believe that she still has these attorneys for this, then I don't know what to tell you. But I personally believe that the people that donated and left the community, and she's not showing any proof, they have every right to go after Natasha. As a matter of fact, I've said this before, even the people that did not donate, she did a fundraiser for a legit cause. And even if you don't donate, it's just like when the Red Cross or anybody else, a GoFundMe, when a GoFundMe, if you do a fundraiser for a cause and it's not true, it wasn't used for that cause or whatever, you could be held criminally not responsible. You could be held, if you say somebody is, say they have cancer and they didn't, and you have a GoFundMe for that, you could be charged, okay? So I'm not saying that she has a GoFundMe and she could be charged. I don't know if she could be charged. But I doubt it she could be charged because, she's not using an illness or anything like that. I mean, because that's pretty sick. But if she held a fundraiser for a legit cause and she did not use those funds, doesn't matter if you donated or not, it was a legit fundraiser. Like I said, like the Red Cross, I know Red Cross is a nonprofit, but if people found out, even if they didn't donate, that the cause that or the fund or whatever that they were holding, the money didn't go to that, they absolutely have a say, okay? And all the creators, like I've said this before, it puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth when they want to donate to creators because of something like this. Just saying. So yeah, she's the one that made it public. She put it out there. It wasn't just one of the PayPal pulls with a funky name. Same goes for the PI. All right, same goes for the PI. I don't know how much was raised for the PI. I think it was what, three grand, 35, 2 grand, something like that. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? So with that said, I mean, is that fraud? Is it fraud? Because in my opinion, that money did not go towards no attorney. It absolutely didn't. Can she come back and show her proof and say, shut up, people? Yes, it did. Absolutely, she can. She can shut us all up eventually. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think anybody's ever going to see that it happened and that the date is going to align with when she hired this attorney or attorneys or whatever. And that they're going to come forward and say, yes, this is when we were hired or whatever. That ain't going to ever happen. You're never going to see proof, transparency. You're never going to see anything unless it's faked, fudged. That's where that money went. Okay. And to me, that would be fraud. Okay. That's fraud. All these other PayPals, those are just funny names, whatever. In my opinion, that's what got her in trouble with PayPal. Not people mass reporting her or whatever. She did it to herself. But this 20K, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And I know people in her community says, well, you know, we donated. We don't care what she does with the money. That's kind of like if someone fakes a GoFundMe, right? And people that donated, like, we don't care what they do with the money. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You might not care, but that makes it harder for other people that do a legit, like, generosity fund for a legit cause. Like I said, it puts a bad taste in people's mouth because of people that go around and do shit like this. Okay? So, anyways, we're going to move past the attorney. I don't believe that it was used for this. Could attorneys have been hired for something else? Possibly. But not for YouTube. Not in my opinion. Not for this YouTube stuff. She also said, she stated not too long ago that the 20K was still in the bank. How can you, I'm sorry, any attorney is going to make you pay along the way. They're not going to do the work for free. So how can the money still be in the bank if you're paying attorneys? That makes no sense. The money can't still be in the bank, right? And almost a year later, your attorneys haven't requested any money. I'm sorry. Come on. Some of us do have a brain. We do. And we know that's not true. Now, she goes on to say, of course, that nobody out there in YouTube land, or in this drama circle, not YouTube land, but in this drama circle, everybody is jealous that nobody has content. And we're going to talk about another thing that, in my opinion, I don't know if it's, well, maybe it could be under the guidelines of fraud. I don't know. But she says no one has any content. They're not as good as she is. They're not as witty. They're shit. Their channel shit. She always talks about the views. So we're going to go over that a little bit. Now, you know, I don't, you know, I'm all over the place. I'm jumbled up. My channel's a mutt. I give her that. I'm just a nobody out here. But there are some creators that are really good. They put out good content, okay? And I've said this in one of my other videos that a lot of creators, not only do they talk about drama, because this is a drama community, but they will mix things up. And one of her comments, too, that she said is either you have to have mental health issues or be an addict or be on welfare or be, I don't know if she said be on welfare. But she was putting all these criterias out there to be a creator in this YouTube circle. I guess, except her, right? But anyways, she says nobody, basically nobody can do true crime or have any good content. Now, I'm going to be talking about a case that happened in 2007, and I don't do true crime. Like I said, I talk in circles anyways, but this case is very personal to me. And I'm not really going to be like, I'm just going to be talking about it. I'm not really covering it. The case is already, well, I don't know if it'll ever be over, but it's already, they caught the killers. It was a horrific crime. And that is the murders of Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom. And it's personal to me because my daughter knew Shannon. And I was living outside of Knoxville at the time. And I was going to college in Knoxville when it happened. So, and I was just I was just shocked that it didn't make national news. It didn't get really a lot of news coverage, but besides that, I really didn't think about national coverage because here you're going to hear my dogs. We had a vehicle beeping, so they're just going to go nuts. But it was just really personal, and I am going to talk about it because even though it happened that long ago, the families are still in and out of court. I think it's been a few years since they've had to go, but I mean, you've already had one that's been up for parole already. You have another one that tried to get a new trial. You have, and I don't quote me on this, Gary, her dad, is very outspoken. He is, he does a lot for the community. He still does, he rides motorcycles, and he does a lot of rides for Christopher, who was her boyfriend. They weren't dating that long, but he does a lot of rides for Christopher and for Shannon, especially, birthdays and stuff like that. He does a lot of different things for, foundations in their name. And they're still battling this, which is totally crazy. And the judge in this case was misconduct. The first judge, it was horrific. It was a horrific crime. 5 people are sitting in jail for the murder of this young couple who were both college students. So I'm going to talk about it and just, what happened, and I'm going to try to keep it as clean as possible because it was so horrific, and just some of the things that Gary, her father, has stated. I don't know if it's been put out there. A lot has been put out there. But there's certain things that hasn't, just some of his thoughts, okay? And I'm not good at that. So I'm just going to talk about it. That's it. Just going to talk about it. But back to other creators. A lot of other creators, they'll talk about some true crime, they'll talk about drama, they'll bring in some crafts, some will do some cooking, some are doing some, nature stuff when they're out and about. uh, they'll do some other things besides just drama. They're doing other things in their channel. So they are putting out content. Some do clip channels. Everybody has their own little niche, whatever. So they're combining different things, which is awesome. Okay, it's not just all about drama, even though this is a drama community. I have to say again, what is Natasha doing? She says she is the only one that is able to hold an audience attention. And yes, she has a big following. And that's all she talks about, views. How many do you have in watching there? And then she does that evil laugh. It's out to me when she's talking about people's views and that humming she does. I used to think it was cute. I don't find it cute anymore. But she talks about how everybody sucks but her. But what content is she putting out? Seriously, there is no content. There is none. Now, I used to like when she would have her panels and when, people weren't dragging and talking horrible about other people. And people would go up on panels and everybody, in the chat, the panel, everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves, just cutting loose, acting silly. It seemed like people really enjoyed it. It doesn't seem like that way anymore. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I thought it was fun. They did karaoke. It doesn't seem like they do that anymore, right? Um, it doesn't seem like it's about fun anymore. I I don't get it. I don't. Like I said, I enjoyed watching a lot of, and I know that I don't think anybody's left that used to go on panel. Maybe one, maybe two. That's it. But she had people that enjoyed being up on panel, enjoying themselves. There was a lot of laughter going on. And that's when I'm talking about when there wasn't bashing. I didn't like that part. But when people were just talking about nonsense, just talking about, whatever, just to cut loose. And everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves. It doesn't look like they enjoy themselves anymore. All her content is, let's be real. All she does is get on and she talks about her money, losing her channels. It's everybody else's fault. How she doesn't have her means of making money anymore. How she lost her income, even though we all know that YouTube isn't a guaranteed income. Your subs is what is paying you. And she gets nasty with a lot of her subs. It's like biting the hand that feeds you, right? But she talks about everything that's happening horrible in her life. Everything that's happening to her. And then dragging everybody in this community, calling them names, talking about their drama or whatever. And that's it. That's her content. But she wants to, hearing my stomach growl. Every time I get on here at this time, my stomach growls. But she does not have any other content. None. There is no true crime. I don't know how long it's been since she's done true crime. A few things here and there. She doesn't do anything else, but she wants to degrade everybody else out there that's doing anything because they might not get the views. They might not get the financial support that her community just dishes out, who cares? Who cares? If they're enjoying what they're doing because they're not dragging, they're doing other things. And if they feel good about themselves, if they're doing crafts or talking about some true crime or talking about doing some nature things or doing some cooking, if that makes them feel good, and if they feel good about themselves and their subs are enjoying that, it doesn't matter if they have 50 or 500 in their chat. Okay? Quality against quantity any day of the week. And as financial goes, you know, all these other creators aren't sitting there talking about their money throughout their entire live video. And woe me, I need the money, 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 money. In my opinion, that's all it's about with Natasha, is money. That's all she talks about. What kind of content is that? I mean, okay, if her people want to say, you know, just because she's got an accent and she has these great comebacks, which she does, and she can drag somebody into the ground and make fun of them and call them every name in the book, that's content, then something's wrong with you. But if that's what you enjoy, then that's what you enjoy. You're not going to change anybody's mind. But sorry, Natasha does not put out content. She doesn't. That's my opinion. People can agree with me or they don't. She doesn't put out any content. Sitting in a chair, dragging people, woe me, that's not hard work. Give me a break. How hard is that? We can all do that all day long. And it would be very easy to do, right? So anyways, we're going to move on from that. I think there's some creators out there that do wonderful content. A lot of them are editing videos. I couldn't do that. I mean, probably if I looked into it, which I probably will have to do, right? Gonna have to do that at some point. But they're doing editing. They're doing all this other stuff. A lot of them are researching different cases. They have panel guests up that they're interacting, talking about different cases and different things. Natasha isn't doing none of that. So now we're moving on to her Patreon. She made a comment that, well, you can join my Patreon and I'm going to start going live like once a week. Well, she said she was going to start doing that 3 times a week. She hasn't gave her people squat on her Patreon. We are going to discuss that because could that be considered fraud? I don't know. We're going to talk about it in a minute. On her Patreon, I do put it on pause a lot when my dogs start going off. But with her Patreon, when she got, booted from YouTube, it kind of forced her to start, like she said, different avenues. Look out, different platforms. So she started the Patreon, the website. I don't know how many memberships she has on her website. It's her business. She went to Twitch. I guess that might have been a flop. I don't know. She went to some other ones. I don't know. But she went to Patreon. That one I did look at. And even Patreon, there was a freeze on that for some reason for a little bit. But she was getting memberships over there. And I do know that the lowest membership is a $5 membership. And she even at one point put where the $5 membership was sold out. And it goes all the way up to like $20 some. And even at one point, she even was bragging on how many, the tiers, on how much there, how many was on the $5 tier, how many was on this tier, how many was on that tier. And she was making not too long ago, close to, I think it was like $1,600 a month. But yet she kept telling everybody, it was either 16, 17, it was around there, don't quote me on that. But she puts all her business out there. So, it's nothing you got to really dig up. But that's nothing to sneeze at when you're not doing nothing. And she wasn't doing anything on her Patreon. She only put out a couple of videos. I'm not a member of her Patreon, but you can kind of look to see what is a Patreon video and what isn't. I mean, I would not join a Patreon just to snoop. I won't do that. So the rest of them were just, hey, I'm going live on YouTube, or hey, I'm going live for a makeup sale. That was it. So, I've said this before, Patreon is like a special thing that some creators do, that they don't want it out on YouTube. They want it to be like a special thing because you're paying a little bit more, right? And they don't go live every day. From what I have seen some creators do, they will go, sometimes 3 times a week, a couple of times a week. It's like a special thing. They don't want it out on YouTube. Now, she did that boys thing. I've already said I enjoyed that. I seen that on YouTube. She went ahead and put it on YouTube. And I seen it on YouTube. It was 2 videos that she did? And I thought that was really cool. But these people are paying for memberships for Patreon, and she's not doing anything. She's, in my opinion, putting too many, like she says, eggs in the basket or whatever, and she's not giving them any content over there at all. So she made a promise. She made a promise to them that I'm going to give you this, right? But then she's not doing it. And then she said, maybe a month or so ago. Now, I know it was on freeze for whatever reason. I don't know how long, but not a long period of time. I mean, she started this, in May? It's going on 4 months now? And she's only put out a couple of, 2 videos that is not on YouTube. That's Patreon only. And she said she was going to do 3 Patreon videos a week. And now she said, well, I'm going to do 1 a week. So is that kind of being a fraud? Because you're telling your people, join, pay this amount of money, and this is what you're going to get, but you're not doing it. So is that fraud? Now, her people can say, well, I don't care. It's none of your business if you're not paying for it. But is it fraud? Because you're basically lying and saying, give me your money, give me your membership, and this is what I'm going to give you in return. But you're not giving it to them. You're lying. And you can say, well, I've been busy doing this and doing that. Well, you're not too busy to go and be on YouTube and drag people and bitch on a daily about your money, but you can't give the people that are paying a premium for Patreon and not giving them anything. I don't know. To me, that's kind of doing some, being a fraud, right? It's taking people's money that are asking for something, and they're not getting it. It's like a service, right? You pay for a service or a subscription to something, like a magazine, for instance, and that magazine never shows up to your home. So, I don't know. To me, that just screams out fraud to me. So, we're going to move along with that. Again, that's not nothing to sneeze at. And I've said before, she said, I'm not getting any money besides putting out these PayPal pools. No, you were getting that money for doing nothing. All you did was go over there and say, I'm going live, a couple of clicks on the computer there to say, I'm going to be live over here on YouTube, and that was it. That's all the work you had to do. So, anyways, moving along from that. Now, we're going to talk about some other maybe fraudulent things maybe going on. Now, I don't agree with I don't agree with attacking her adult child and her school. Okay? That I do not agree with. I just want to put that out there. I know there's this thing going on about the cookbook and about her schooling and attacking her school. Okay. This is just my opinion. I don't think her school would give a rat's butt about a cookbook. That's just my opinion. Some people can say no, they would. I don't think they would. I don't know about all this cookbook. Now, I used to love watching her daughter's cooking videos. I know she doesn't do them anymore. I know her channel's gone, in my opinion. Again, I think it was her mother's doing, maybe an IP ban. I don't know, because now her channels are up. I don't know how all that works with, the bans and stuff like that. But I enjoyed that. Her daughter stopped doing those videos. But we also know, we hear Natasha talking all the time about, food being delivered to them, yada, yada, yada. So, maybe there's not much cooking going on in the house anymore. That's nobody's business. But I enjoyed watching those. So her daughter decided to make up a cookbook, and just her community was buying them. I don't see an issue with that. I mean, that's just my opinion. She's in college and she lives at home with her mother. So, and she wanted to do like a side business with this makeup sales. And I don't see anything wrong with that either. I don't. Here's the issue. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with this cookbook. I don't even know what I guess they said that it was plagiarized or whatever. I don't understand that. I know when I do my cooking, sometimes, I've said this before, sometimes I think it's something that nobody else has made before, or did before, but I'm sure that if you looked hard enough, the same thing's going to be out there. I don't know. So I don't understand all that. The only thing that I could say is that there might be some fraudulent things going on. And when I say that, is she says this is Hannah's business, and that is awesome. And when I say that is, when you're in school, or even if you're not in school or whatever, and you want to get something on the side going that to make money, and you're always thinking about your future, whether it be working outside of the home, doing something on the side, whatever, as long as you pay your taxes and it's in the up and up, giddy up. I mean, because times are hard. Sometimes you got to think outside of the box. It is what it is. It doesn't always have to be the conventional 9-to-5 way, right? And especially if you're a college student. The only thing that I see that's a little bit fishy here is that Natasha would do the makeup sales, and she said it was Hannah's business, but the PayPals were always in Natasha's name, not her name. And she talks about her student loans, and is that why? Because of the income. Because a lot of us have had student loans, right? Or we have our adult children that might have stayed with us when they went to school, And we know how that works. A lot of times when your kids are, fresh out of high school, they go on to college when they're filling out, for those loans. They go by your, especially if they're federal student loans, they go by your, and the Pell Grant and all that good stuff. They go by your income and they go by your parents' income, right? So I think y'all know where I'm getting at here. That would be a little fishy, okay, of why this couldn't be put in her name. But then again, they're still going to go after Natasha's income because she is living with her mother. At least this is how it was back when my kids were younger, okay, fresh out of high school and applying for student loans for school. So I'm just saying, that could be the reason, because a lot of people were talking about, they have made comments. I'm not saying everybody, but some people were talking about, well, why isn't the stuff in Hannah's name? Why is it all in Natasha's name if it's Hannah's business? And that could be a part of it. Now, is that any of our business? No, it's not. It's not our business. But is there fraudulent things going on? I mean, you don't want to mess with student loans. You absolutely don't. That could bite you in the butt for years and years to come. That's one thing with student loans. They can get you even if you're on disability. I know this has nothing to do with her adult daughter, but if you're on disability, the only way they can guarantee disability is student loans and child support. Everything else, they cannot guarantee your wages for any other bills. But you don't mess with those student loans at all. You have to be in the up and up with them. So if you are doing a side business and you are making a lot of money, and there's a lot of money that has been made. Now, we have no idea, absolutely none, and it's none of our business what they are paying, wholesale for these products. We don't. It has to be a pretty good, decent amount. Or not a decent amount, I'm sorry. A pretty good discount amount for them to give these name brand products away at a pretty good discount from what the company itself would give them away to. If you listen to my last video, I already stated that could have been a reason why the PayPal went down and why YouTube and all that stuff. Maybe the company themselves reached out, because I don't know how it works if thousands of people are doing the same thing that Natasha is doing, and these companies are losing their butt. If they would lose their butt on selling their own product, that's not a good thing. But that's the only thing that I could, forget the cookbook. I mean, to me, that's not a major issue. But if somebody is making a lot of money, and there's a lot of makeup sales going on, a lot of money coming in, and student loans, Natasha is making quite a bit of money with her PayPals, Cash Apps. I don't even know how that works. I don't have any of that on my channel, so I don't know. But a lot of money has came in with just the PayPals alone and with these makeup sales. So I know that with my own kids, I don't know, it could have changed. It could have changed. My kids are adults now, but it could have changed. But it went by the parents' income as well as my kids' income, right? So that's what they look at with these loans and tuition and all that good stuff, to see, if they qualified for Pell Grant and this and that. I don't even know, and it's none of my business what her adult daughter, what kind of tuition she gets, or if she got a Pell Grant, or if she's got federal loans. That's none of my business. I'm just saying that it could be fraud if all that stuff isn't turned in to the school. And I don't, in my opinion, I don't think anybody should be messing with her school. Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm just saying that student loans are nothing to mess with. And I would never mess with a young student's school. And I don't know, that stuff is so gross to me. But you can't mess, you can't fraud the government. You can't fraud student loans. You can't try to get over on them, because they will come after you, and it can cause, for years and years to come. Sometimes you still, those federal loans, you still got to pay those back. The interest rate is just lower, but that portion you have to pay back. The grant, the Pell Grant is a free, but I think y'all know what I'm saying. That could be a big issue. And hopefully Natasha would not be putting her daughter in that position. She's young. She's just getting started out. And I get it. She wants to have a business, a side business of her own, but you do have to do it the right way. Hopefully she is. I'm not in that household. I'm not going to make a judgment call. I'm not going to be one to say she's not doing it the right way. But there has been, a lot of money with these makeup sales. Absolutely. We know that. There has been a lot of money with PayPal pulls with Natasha. I'm just saying, the way it was with my kids, it could have changed. They went by my income. Okay? Because at the time, the kid, they were in my household. So I could claim them on my taxes because they were my dependents still, even though they were over the age of 18. So anyways, moving on from that, this cookbook stuff, that to me is just a little nuts and crazy. So she wrote out a little cookbook. Who cares? I don't think her school, in my opinion, would care about that. I really don't. I wish, she would do some more cooking videos. I enjoyed them. So we're just going to move past that. Like I said, that's the only thing that I could see that would be a cause of, little fraud going on. As if that wasn't turned in correctly, and hopefully, it was, because that would not bite Natasha, it would bite her grown child in the end, and what she would have to pay back, and that would hurt her, not Natasha. And that would be sad, especially someone starting out and trying to go to college and do something with their life, and that would be really, really sad. So moving on from that, we'll get to the next subject here. Something I noticed, and then I'm going to just cut this. There was other things too, but in my opinion, it's just not worth it. She had her family over when she went live, and she said her house was full of chitlins, and that's what I call my grandkids a lot, so I find that bizarre. But the last thing that I would think to do if I had a house full of kids and my family was over, and she even mentioned that her other daughter was over there and the whole family, was over there. The last thing on my mind would be to go live on YouTube. I would want to spend that quality time with my family. But she said to her other daughter, she said she yells out and she brings, in my opinion, her family into this YouTube drama. She said that she yells out her name and she said, well, the new thing that's going on around YouTube is that 20K that I hired for my attorneys went to your IVF. Now, I didn't hear what her daughter said, and Natasha was quiet for a little bit, and then you hear her daughter say, oh, she doesn't even know what that is. And I'm thinking to myself afterwards, like I said, I didn't hear what her daughter say, and I could be completely off base with this. But, and she might have been talking to someone else too. So, like I said, I could be completely wrong and people can correct me. But I'm thinking to myself, does the other daughter not know about these attorneys? Does this other daughter, because she's not one that is there all the time listening to these videos like the other daughter, does she not listen to her mother on YouTube at all? Natasha's already put out there what her daughter does for a living, which I surely would not have ever done. But when she said those words, she doesn't even know what that is. I am sure this other daughter, one, what she already put out, what she does for a living, two, being a woman, three, being pregnant, would know what IVF is, right? So I'm wondering when she says she doesn't even know what that is, it just makes me think she's covering up of maybe this daughter doesn't even know about these attorneys. That was the first thing that crossed my mind. That she doesn't know what she's talking about when she's talking about these attorneys. I could be totally off base because she was quiet for a while. Maybe that just came out of her mouth because she's used to saying the attorneys around, the other family members that are always there because they hear her talking all the time, but not around the other adult daughter. And she said that out loud. But when she said those words, I mean, I could be totally off base because she could have been talking to someone else in the household when she said she doesn't even know what that means. But I'm sure that she wasn't talking about IVF, okay? Because I'm sure the other daughter knows what IVF means or what it is. So I did want to say that. And here's the other thing, and then I'm going to go. She has PayPal backup. Now, I don't know if her community did not read the bottom because she put up this PayPal where she was terminated from PayPal, right? And at the bottom of it, she didn't focus in on that. It said that she is not allowed to ever use PayPal again. It's on there. But people were asking when she was doing the makeup sale, they're like, well, if we don't have a Cash App or whatever, and we want this makeup, how can we go about doing that? And she was quiet a little bit, and then she's like, well, you can email Hannah to get the PayPal address. Now, she said before, too, that Hannah's PayPal was okay. So, I'm just guessing here that now she's using Hannah's PayPal, maybe, for the makeup sales. Okay? So, now it's going in Hannah's PayPal. Might that hurt Hannah's school for her stuff? I don't know. Would you chance that to hurt her tuition, her loans and stuff? I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know. It wouldn't be worth it for me if my child was in college, and this might stop them from getting their loans, their whatever they needed to go to school. It wouldn't be worth it to me to get that extra income coming in, or get that income, because no, sorry. Um, it just wouldn't be worth it. I mean, she's so close, right? She's so close to finishing. But she said you can email Hannah. And then I heard words too, that I heard her words, and she says, yes, we can use the PayPal address. Now, wait a minute. I thought that PayPal was suspended and that you couldn't get the money for 180 days, that everybody took your PayPal down. But you said, yes, we can use that PayPal address. This is making no sense. A lot of people were thinking that she took the PayPal down for a money grab to get Cash Apps instead, because Cash Apps, I don't know, do they take a fee out? I'm not sure. I know, doesn't it come immediately? I'm not sure about that. But was it to get more Cash Apps? There was a lot of, different rumors going around. I don't like rumors. But a lot of people were saying that, she didn't show the proof. It didn't say her name. It just said, your PayPal was suspended, and it says 180, you get your money back in 180 days, maybe. There might be fines and this and that. And she was crying and doing all this, but you can send me Cash App. I can only do Cash App. But all of a sudden, she's got a PayPal pool up for $5,000 for lost income. But if you go on down, which she didn't zoom in on, it says down there that she cannot use PayPal anymore. She has to remove logos, all that stuff, that she is not allowed to use PayPal anymore. She can't use PayPal anymore. They told her, no, you can't use it. Even after this 180 days or whatever it is, that she is not allowed to use PayPal anymore. I mean, this issue hasn't even been resolved yet. And she's using somebody's PayPal for the makeup sale. No big deal, right? No big deal. If it's for the makeup sale and it's Hannah's business, it could be Hannah's PayPal. But she's putting up somebody's PayPal for herself. I mean, is that legal to do? I mean, whoever's PayPal that is, that she's using, aren't they responsible for taxes? I don't know. Like I said, I don't have PayPal or Cash App or any of that on my channel, but do you have to give Social Security number and all that good stuff? Don't you have to pay taxes on your PayPal every year? So if you use somebody else's PayPal, are they not responsible for the taxes at the end of the year for whatever money is on that PayPal? If she did not, if PayPal did not go down and this isn't hers that she's shown, if that makes any sense, if this wasn't real, and she really does have PayPal and it was just a money grab, like some people are saying, to get more Cash Apps instead of just PayPal, or just a woe me, another crisis, because she's got a PayPal up there for $5,000, then isn't that, I don't know, would that be fraud? If you're using someone else's PayPal, even if it's someone in the family? Because aren't they responsible for the taxes? I don't know. A lot of fishy things going on. But I'm going to end it there. And there's no more to talk about. I'm sure we're going to see things pop up again. Her community is, they declared war. They are striking, or not striking, but they are reporting. Well, some that are, I guess, they even said they're going to go after comments on subs. They're going around, and they even said that that they've had a lot of videos taken down. They said Mama Knows Best that they had a video, they got an email where a video went down, and I was listening a little bit on hers, and she said no video went down on mine. I don't know if any creator, if they can confirm, because they're saying they're getting a lot of emails, and Natasha even said a lot of emails are coming in that videos have been taken down. If anybody can clarify if videos have been taken down, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say that any of their videos have been taken down. Even Barb said when Natasha did that fake I'm striking Barb, Barb said that never happened. And her chatters were like, "Yay, go for it. Go, yay, we're so happy you're doing this." Barb said that never happened. It was a fake I'm striking Barb, and she made that big dramatic thing when she did that to Barb, and it was fake. She didn't do it. But, it was a dramatic little thing that she played out when she was, quote, striking Barb, but she never did. So she lied about it. So what else is she lying about? That's the thing. But they are on a warpath. They say they have an army bigger than anybody else. And Natasha already said she doesn't give a shit if people strike her channels down, because she is going to just keep coming back. So she doesn't care if you take this channel down or that channel down. It doesn't matter, but her and her people are going to go around, and they are going to strike. They're going to report. They already said they're going to mass report. They're mass reporting. If they hear Natasha's name, anything, they're going to mass report. In my opinion, that is totally wrong. I don't believe in mass reporting anybody, okay? If a video is vile, nasty, okay, and it shouldn't be on YouTube, okay, that's one thing. But I still don't report. I said I reported once, and that was that channel that was about Natasha's aunt. She asked people to report that, and I did. It was a channel that popped up, and it was disgusting. I did report that. She asked people to do it. It was vile, disgusting. It shouldn't, whatever. So, I did report it. Now, again, was that a real channel that popped up, or was that another manipulation? I have to ask myself, because of all this other stuff that comes up constantly, crisis. Now that I think about it, because there was a lot of donations after that too. Just saying. You kind of sit back and you watch these patterns, and it just makes you wonder. So with that, I'm going to go, and we'll just see what happens here. We'll see what happens. And no, mass reporting is not okay. It's not, just because your creator did some wrong things. I'm sorry. Some people need to open up their eyes and realize that, yes, some mass reporting can happen. Some people are attacking. I understand that they have attacked, but not all of this stuff is happening to one person because they haven't done anything wrong. I mean, that is pretty clear. So everyone have a good day, and we'll talk to you again.